Hello and welcome back to SNHU Esports live from the Connection IT Arena. My name is Shane. I'm joined here with Connor. We got some League of Legends tonight.
I am so excited here for this match because this is going to be, I feel like, a really anticipated match for this white team here.
Yeah.
So we're streaming this new League of Legends white team, which is going to be a bit of a change up. We're going to have blue go on Friday, so you'll still get your dose of blue.
No, blue is actually on our B stream tonight.
Right, you can check them out right now if you wanted to, too.
Yeah, they should be getting started up pretty soon. Same exact start time as this, so just once they get ready to go into draft, they'll be going live over on twitch.tv/SNHU Esports B. You'll be able to find all of that. But tonight, on this stream, we got SNHU White versus Clark Esports. So let's go ahead and hop into draft and get a look at what we're looking at tonight as we get started off with our bans.
So we're going to see, as usual, I preface this with collegiate League of Legends, right? We're going to see a lot of scouting, and we're going to see people, trying to ban out picks that they normally be really comfortable on. So, for example, one of our players, our ADC, really likes Jhin. So it wouldn't be out of question for Clark to ban Jhin in one of their first ban phases here. So we're going through this first ban phase here, and we're going to see Fizz and Volley come out from SNHU. Two pretty good bans. Looks like they're trying to focus kind of mid-top here. And then Clark's going to run it back with Zyra and Mordekaiser. That Zyra band has been pretty popular.
Yeah, we've seen Zyra bans both from SNHU as well as from the teams that we've been playing on both of our teams. So definitely a hot topic at the moment. And then White banning, like you said, kind of going slightly towards top lane in their bans has been something that we've seen a lot as well. Maybe just not really wanting to deal with that very successful tanky presence. You'd rather just deal with the Ornn. You don't really have to try and contest him in lane too much. Yeah, he's tanky, but there's nothing you can do about it. You don't have to worry about him scaling out of control or anything like that.
They got their hands on the Swain.
Yeah, that is, again, Swain first pick is another extremely popular thing. Just because we've seen it's really flexible. It's been on I think our last two League of Legends stream have included a Swain first pick at some point.
Yeah, and I feel like that's one of the better first picks because you can flex it support, flex it mid, a little bit of top lane, some ADC. So it's got a lot of flexibility to kind of go wherever you want. But I do know that SNHU White really favors playing that into the mid lane here. So it could just be a dedicated first pick mid there. And it's kind of hard to counterpick it because you don't know if it's going to be switched over last minute.
Right. Yeah.
So responding to that, we're going to see Clark come out with the Kai'Sa Nautilus. Very strong bot lane. Has pretty early kill potential and presence, so you got to respect him pretty good. And then Zach Milio is not a bad response to that from SNHU. Seeing a very heavy kind of just death ball dive just front to back here from SNHU.
Zach is also another character that's been pretty popular here for White. And again, like you said, it's that kind of anti-death ball tank that you're looking for in the jungle. Because particularly in this division, it seems like that strategy is just really popular, right? Just ball up and kind of roam around the map together. You're not at risk of getting picked. The only thing that you're risking is potentially giving up value on some areas of the map. And as long as you're able to roam into someone and find a kill, you pretty much completely negate that disadvantage.
Yeah. And another popular response here, picking into the Swain and stuff like that we've seen is Sylas.
Yes.
So Sylas is so good into Swain, especially in the mid lane, but just basically if Swain's in the game and Sylas gets his ultimate, it's pretty hard to kill either of them. The fight could probably go on for the rest of the match.
Yeah. Sylas is another character that just not only including Swain, but in general in this division, a lot of players are playing Sylas because he is not only just kind of a solid character, but he is one of those characters that is fun and flashy, and people like to main Sylas.
Yeah,
he's one of those characters that you can kind of clip farm with, and so a lot of people in this division seem to really like doing that. We're looking at some of Clark's bans and some of SNHU's final bans here before we move into the second round of picks. That Kled ban is in response to SNHU White's last appearance here on stream, for sure. They had a Kled appearance. They drafted it one game. It did okay. I don't know if it's necessarily worth banning it out, but maybe they just don't have that much else they're really looking to ban.
Yeah, I think the Kled goes pretty good into SNHU's composition right now. If you have the Kled ultimate with the Swain, it's just kind of really hard to get the swain off of you. So he's already in there. He has his Rylai's. He's probably going to have like at least 4 people stuck to him. So that's a lot of healing to deal with if you don't have Grievous. And not every single person on the team is going to want to build that.
Yeah, that's really just one person who's kind of going to be like the anti-healer.
Yeah, you might like stick it on 1-2 people.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're going to get that Jhin pick too, which is going to be kind of interesting with Milio. I'm not really sure how that works out, but I feel like it's going to be a safer lane into the Kai'Sa Nautilus. Like Milio can definitely get Jhin out of, a bad situation pretty easily, especially with his cleanse ultimate.
Yeah. And now SNHU looking to round up their composition with their final pick. Clark will get a chance to make a pick after that. But looking at the Urgot, again, another tried and true pick there for SNHU. And Clark looking to round things up with Darius Ornn. Oh. Ornn is a pretty safe bet usually. Just kind of
shenanigans.
Flickering through everything. Why not? Looks like we might be hovering on the Ornn, and that is, again, just a really solid teamfight character. Very hard to meaningfully contest in lane. So I think that's a decent way to sort of round up their composition here. But it is worth noting on SNHU White for Milio. Milio is a character that we have not seen on this stream at all so far.
True.
So kind of break down for us exactly, just like an overview. What kind of utility does Milio bring to his lane?
Milio is kind of like a hybrid enchanter. He can also play a little bit of poke. So normally he is an enchanter, but he builds full AP poke because his Q and E ratios are like pretty good with AP. Yeah. So why not just have a bunch of damage on top of it too? But he basically has a lot of shielding potential. He has a cleanse, and the interesting that he can do is he can extend people's auto attack range. So he'll put his little Fuemigo is what they're called onto a Jhin, for example, and he'll get like 50 to like 100 attack range.
So really, really heavily poke focused here. This is going to be kind of a little bit more of a defensive composition here, whereas you look at Clark's bottom lane, which is Kai'Sa Nautilus, very, very aggressive.
Yeah, you're going to see quick trades in that bot lane. Like Jin's going to get his 4th shot, and you're going to see Milio just throw that EW on him and just quick in and out.
Yeah, I mean, hyper aggressive lanes versus sort of hyper defensive pokey lanes are always very fun to watch. So I'm excited to watch that bot lane play out. We're going to go ahead and throw to a break while we wait for the spectator delay to catch up. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. Stay tuned as you're ready to go into game number 1. Hello and welcome back as we're ready to go into our first game of the night, SNHU White versus Clark Esports. And we see already Clark starting to go for something a little saucy down here in the bot lane.
Yeah, we're going to get the flash out of Nautilus and also Shoei Cult there. Both of them spending their flash. I feel like that's probably a better trade there for Clark. Having Nautilus's Hex Flash there is going to be still pretty scary.
And that is Jin, who is already pretty immobile, not having that flash to work with. So that is going to be a little bit of a sour spot there. They're already planning to play defensive, so hopefully they should be positioning themselves in ways where it doesn't matter too much. But Clark's bot lane has ways to sort of force you out of position. They're very much looking to be very aggressive and take even the slightest little misposition as ideally a first blood for them. So SNHU really need to look out for that.
Yeah, and I really think that the way that Clark is setting up this kind of situation here in the jungle, it looks like Jarvan's going to try to like half or full clear down towards bot lane and then gank that bot lane and just play bot lane the entire game. You're not really going to spend a lot of time in the top lane with an Ornn.
Right.
You could try to play a little bit towards that mid lane. Silas always is a little bit favorable, especially when he has the ultimates that SNHU does have.
Had a little bit of a timeout there for a second, but fortunately, thanks to that delay, we don't have to wait for it too much. Yeah, these hooks are going to be big, and they're really going to be looking to try and push to deny as much CS as they can early, because they've got a lot of room to do it now.
Right, and when they don't really have those levels to work with on both of those characters, Milio and Jin, it's a little bit trickier to actually fight the level 1 from Kai'Sa and Nautilus, especially when they're hitting that level 2 first because they're able to push you off that wave.
Right. Just looking in general at sort of the team compositions on both these teams, right? Zach versus J4. I don't know if we've seen exactly this matchup too much in the last few weeks, but we've seen these two characters a lot. In terms of early game ganks, we know J4 is not so bad in that department. And Zach also not terrible. Who are we feeling like kind of has a little bit more of a favor here in the early game?
So I feel like Zach can really just back-to-back gank with more results from it. For example, like he has better gank setup, he's more efficient without gold, and he kind of is, really sticky. Once he gets on top of you, there's not a lot you can do to get him off. So I feel like that's going to be a tricky one there, but it looks like Ornn has already secured that first blood in the top lane. A nice little pickup going on to Ornn. Not, anything too crazy,
right,
here, but it's still going to be first blood there for Clark.
It's definitely nice to have that early lead in the top lane. There's a lot of characters in the top lane where you really don't have to, like Ornn, where you don't have to worry too much about the other laner being able to really push you out of position too much or being able to exploit your character that much. Ornn's really safe. And that extra kill is just going to make him even safer. He has to worry about even less now, which is great because Urgot, especially once he hits like level 6, right, he's got that execute, so like Ornn's health suddenly doesn't matter quite as much. So him getting ahead early is going to definitely make that feel a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like we're going to see Clark's jungler pathing down towards the bot lane here. Don't really have that much info on where J4 is, and also that Brush just went unwarded, I think. So it's a little bit scary, but here in the mid lane, we're going to see an exchange. Silas getting confident. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, he's going to hold that E, just save it for last second. Rarvane is going to fall there to that Kai'Sa. And in the mid lane, though, they might be able to pick up this kill on the Silas. Just such a huge health bar, going to be able to get out of there. Silas, one of those champions where he just presses W, half of his health bars back. So
yeah, Clark looking really strong off of that interaction. Really important for them that they did not lose Silas in the mid lane. Obviously, you don't want him to die, but the fact that SNHU didn't find any value on another part of the map after Rarvane went down, that's great for Clark. And so, especially with Silas, you got to be very, very careful about when you choose to engage on him because he has that lifesteal. He can really just sort of ride right on that line of almost like looking just low enough that you could kill him, but he's healing so much that it's very hard to.
Yeah, he's like the mage version of a bruiser. He's a battle mage, but he also heals a crap ton.
Yeah. So that's definitely something you got to worry about. Just overcommitting on Silas is something that the character almost just innately baits you into overcommitting on him. So that's just another thing you got to worry about here against Clark's team composition here. And we will see with SNHU also, it's important to note that flash did get spent in the bot lane. So right as soon as Jin's flash came back up for SNHU, the support flash is down, and that is going to make things just a little bit rougher here. They just need to play a little bit safer, and they're doing good at that because Shoei Colt, check the CS, is slightly ahead, and that's important that he's at least staying even after being forced back a little bit. But yeah, this could be bad. Ooh,
it's a flash. Can be able to get that root off too, just a little bit of poke off onto that Jarvan, but Jespoon is running a little bit low on the mana department here. It looks like Prime could take a few more trades here, which he might be doing currently, but also in the top lane, that ult is going to get out from this Ornn. He hits level 6 first. Buckles running for his life right now, 200 health. Going to be able to get out of there, though.
And he's able to get back under turret. Jespoon also very low, trying to fall back under turret. There's a lot of people in his area.
Yeah, this is the problem. Jarvan going to go right in on Eat the Vegans there. I feel like this is going to be a recurring kind of thing going on in the jungle. That Jarvan's just going to have pretty much free reign as he gets a bit more of a lead there. He has that one assist and a pickaxe. But once that turns into like an Iron Spike whip and everything, it's going to be really hard for Zach to actually contest him.
Yeah, I really like the way that Clark are playing very forward. They're being very aggressive in terms of just making sure they're always harassing SNHU under turret or in their own jungle. They're always making sure that they're pressuring them somewhere, which is really important for Clark. And I think that if they continue to play like this is a great way to sort of keep things going. SNHU, very slightly on the back foot here. Gold difference has barely even begun to show up, except for like maybe a few places, like you said, with J4 picking up an item just a little bit earlier than SNHU's Zach. But yeah, SNHU just need to play a little bit defensive here. They need to keep an eye out for Clark's sort of tricks here as they continue to maintain that very constant pressure.
Yeah, and it looks like Clark kind of has the reins on the tempo right now. They're going to be able to kind of swing this game in the way they want to, but as they push in this bot wave here, it looks like mid-wave has prio. Is going to get an earlier rotation than their Silas here. Swain's got to be kind of careful, though. He can be collapsed by that mid and jungle. But it looks like both teams are looking for the dragon here.
That's okay. Don't worry about that. But yeah, with this dragon being threatened, SNHU, once again, they got vision of it. They know it's happening. This is a pretty tough thing for them to deal with here. Clark already pretty entrenched, pulling the dragon back out. Very, very tough to kind of do to push directly into the front line of Clark's composition.
And they got that mid lane out there. Were able to push that wave in, and I think they're just going to give that dragon to Clark. And it's only going to be that first dragon. Doesn't really matter a whole lot yet, but it's going to be an earlier lead for Clark too. They're going to get the swing on things here. I feel like we should have SNHU kind of have a switch right now, just kind of shift their attention a little bit towards the top lane here and help out Buckles and focus on this Rift Herald. Could even possibly, I don't know, pull the support or something.
Yeah, that is the big issue, right? Is the objective control starting to slip a little bit as Clark find that first dragon. So I like that you mentioned about that Rift Herald. Optimus Jungler is already up there. So they have to worry about Optimus potentially rushing that down, potentially harassing Buckles. And with the way things are going right here, J. Remy's really has no problem just continuing to push the wave or continuing to play like this in a way where he's just essentially baiting. And it looks like it's going to work out pretty well as the ultimate comes out as well. Buckles not going to be able to retreat. And with him down, that Baron Pit is pretty open now. And Rift Herald is pretty open for the taking. Eat the Vegans in the area, but that's a tough fight to take on his own.
A nice engage coming out here from that Nautilus, but so much damage from Shoei Colt is going to leave Glitching a little bit hurt.
Yeah, really important to get this damage onto Clark. They are definitely impacted by being low health a lot more than SNHU are, and a great route just to get a little bit more damage. Going to yank back Banana as well, and suddenly exploding very fast and going to pop that Jin ult just to be able to secure that kill. Very nicely done. That is the first kill on the board for SNHU. Getting their foot in the door. Now going to buy some space for that bot lane as well. Relieve a little bit of that pressure. Kaisa can't do all that much on her own at this point in the game, so SNHU definitely relieved down there.
Yeah, and Buckles is going to be able to get that armor shred there. on J Remy's and take a lot of his health. We could see another bait here or a dive, but it looks like Eat the Vegans has the general idea of what's going on here. Pops over there, finds a Jarvan that I don't think he was really expecting. E comes out, he's going to have to flash in the Cataclysm, but it looks like he has his passive up. He could survive for a pretty long time here. There goes the Jarvan and the flash spear onto the Ornn back into tower range. This is a crazy turn of events here. Jeremy's going to be able to just bonk.
Yep, just blows him up there. I like that. That was sick, though. The flash for the fear was really, really aggressive, and I like that kind of that big tempo play that Buckles was going for there. Unfortunately, J Remy's is kind of starting to stat check people a little bit.
14% max health, brittle damage.
Yeah, yes, it is. It's you cannot ignore that.
Yeah, I hate Ornn so much.
He's so tough to deal with, right? Forcing the flash out from Rarvane there. Gonna be, once again, it really feels like this bot lane is struggling to keep their flashes on board at all times, and now suddenly a very aggressive play right here. Gonna go to get root just to buy a little bit of space, but Showy Cold suddenly in a very bad position, is forced to flash as well. Both flashes down from the bot lane. Clark, whoa, in a good spot.
Yeah,
that Rift Child coming down too.
I thought they put that top, but it looks like they're gonna have that like trigger discipline to just put it in the bot lane onto their. Like, they didn't tunnel vision on the top lane because their priority is bot lane.
It would have been a little better if they just put the Rift Trail down facing the other direction.
Yeah.
So SNHU couldn't just snipe its weak spot.
That's true.
Maybe actually would have been able to get the turret in that case, because SNHU really couldn't push into Clark there.
Yeah, they were able to get 2 platings onto their bot lane here, so that's a pretty big paycheck here for Kai'Sa. Might be able to afford, I think, a static Shiv there is what they're building. But meanwhile, I feel like if they tried to go any further and dive there, they had Eat the Vegans at the ready.
That's true. That's true. He was on standby, and Vegans has been. You generally kind of keep an eye on his positioning. Unfortunately, SNHU hasn't had any big opportunities where they could really swing a fight back around. So we haven't seen it too much, but. Vegans is always kind of in the right place at the right time. You'll see him hovering around where he knows the action is going to take place. So that kind of very, that very predictive positioning that he has, sort of doing a good job of keeping track of Clark's jungler and sort of always being in the right spot to potentially counter gank is awesome.
They're going to find the junglers in the jungle there. Both of them coming out there, and a giant cataclysm into a huge knock-up there, but it looks like the Swain is just in there. So much damage going to come out from that Sylas ultimate too. He's still alive, going to pick up a double kill. He wants more. He's going to look for it and not going to find anything today, but that's still a pretty big paycheck there for Clark.
Yeah, that is great for Clark right now. SNHU, Showy Cold is so forward, playing aggressive. That's going to be Prime hopping right in and not going to be able to get the kill. Showy Cold fires back, gets the shutdown. Banana forced to fall back, can't really try and push into that Jhin. SNHU still finding some value.
That's a big shutdown on someone you really don't want to have it. And it looks like they're overextending again. The teleport comes out from Just Spoon, going to try to find more. Not going to be able to find that slow, and I think they're just going to get out of there, but they're going to be able to convert onto the dragon, I feel like.
Yeah, SNHU have got some serious momentum right now. Clark are very out of position. They've got players down. Not a lot they can do to contest this. Optimus can be in the area, but it's pretty much a suicide play if he actually wants to go and try and steal it. So it's not going to happen. SNHU are going to make sure that they don't let Clark get all the objectives. Going to start to establish some control of their own, which is really important. You do not want to see that 2-dragon lead early on.
Right, they're really able to... kind of swing the game a little bit more in their favor here. I feel like Clark was really suffocating them a second ago there, but now SNHU really has, the ball back in the game here. They're going to be able to maybe, make a few more plays here, and it looks like the Sylas is looking for exactly that, going to try to find perhaps a play onto Buckles here.
Yeah, interesting positioning here. Maybe looking to try and... Actually, he's going to hop out right into that ward. So Buckles has to try and back up in time. Is able to pick up that Urgot ultimate, but dodges the grapple. And now Buckles is trying to get back under turret. But this is tough, and we're going to see that ultimate get stolen. He's going to use it right back onto Buckles to secure that kill. And now Clark are going to be able to get the bot turret. They're likely going to be able to destroy the top turret as well, as they just attack 2 fronts at the same time. Really, really strong form from them right now.
Yeah, and I really like the deep wards that we're seeing coming out from Clark here. They're able to kind of really keep track of one, the jungler, and also rotations from SNHU here. And another engage coming out here on Just Spoon. It looks like he's tanky enough to survive this. Has his ultimate, but so much burst damage coming out. He's going to go for one.
That was a crazy turn there. Just a sudden burst of damage. Clark forced to fall back after that. SNHU see them starting to arrive on the scene and starting to try and pick some fights here under the turret. But with Clark having players on the scene, could potentially try and turn things around here.
The 4-shot, no, he's not going to get it out there. They're going to have to try to retreat here. That passive goes out, but I don't think there's anyone that can come to the rescue for him today.
Yeah, Clark, so far, one of their biggest strengths, I would say, is the ability for them to just bait fights. They've been so good at that so far, just making themselves look weak so that you aggress on them, and then they're able to quickly turn things around there. That teleport that came out was great. Suddenly just 4 players out of nowhere were attacking SNHU's front line, who felt very comfortable up until that point.
And now Clark is really able to convert this lead into that second Rift Herald here, which is something that you really want as SNHU, perhaps like trading it for a dragon or something. But getting that onto Clark is going to be in business now because they really have control of where SNHU's players are going to be right now.
There's a manhunt happening down here as Zoom tries to get away. It's going to be pretty tough to catch up to him here. Vegan starts to catch up. He is able to dodge that Jhin shot, not going to get rooted from that. The Jhin ult pops just to get some extra slows out, but damage isn't really a huge threat right here. He does take that final shot and gets pulled right back in. Unfortunately, just couldn't get out of range of that Swain.
I like the way that SNHU really looked for the other play and the other opportunity on the map to be able to try to buy back a little bit more time from Clark. But now they're not even going to take that reset on Clark. They're just going to keep going, and they have this Rift Herald at the tier 2 for top. I wonder if they're going to place it.
This is just rapid fire right now. And speaking of, we're going to see just a quick little premonition at the moment of Shoei Colt about to hit this skill shot. Very, very nicely done to him. But as we take a pause right here, I think it's important that we take a pause to just recognize how fast that this game is going. Clark is really stepping onto the gas right now. Rift Herald coming out in the top lane as well. That mid turret being seriously threatened. Top inhibitor next up on the chopping block. It's a tough situation for SNHU. They quickly need to start reallocating where people are at. Start to put some forces up into the top lane. Try and deal with this because this is going to be a very dead turret very soon.
Yeah, and they're going to just take the time here to reset off of how much pressure they just gained there, I feel like.
They couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
That's so rough.
Or are they going to reset? It looks like they might be looking at Zach right now. I think they have vision on Zach with these deep wards. Once again, just having excellent vision from Clark here.
Yeah. I really like the way, like you mentioned, the ward usage. Just Clark's intel game is really solid right now. And then also seeing like Silas having a blue ward is awesome. He is using that so effectively just to scout out areas ahead. Always kind of have that intel. He is standing on ward right now, so SNHU know that he's there, but they don't have info on anyone else on Clark.
Yeah, they had like 4 off map. One was in base there, but they don't really. I mean, you can't really know that, but it seems like Clark is going to try to position themselves towards Dragon right now. Might look for a kill bush or something, because walking through this jungle while it's this dark for SNHU is not going to be very fun.
Yeah, we see them. They've got a general idea that people are over here, but they have a really hard time knowing exactly who. And the flank comes out.
Oh, he gets out of there, but that's a huge knockup. Going to be able to get 4 people, just everyone going to throw their AoEs out there. 2 Swain ultimates on the screen at the same time, but looks like Silas is just going to run through there. Triple kill for Jarvan as well. Shoei Colt not going to be able to get away from Prime there, and he will fall. Along with Jarvan. Jarvan's dead too.
Yeah, I guess that's 2 down for Clark. They did get the ace. Well, unfortunately, they really can't take it too much further outside of this. They're going to go down to try and get this dragon. Maybe try and pop that top inhibitor as well. But in a perfect world right there, that was a mid inhibitor turret that was dead. And unfortunately, they just lost 2 people to that turret that kind of stunted that plan.
Yeah, and I don't think the timers are really long enough for them to really secure anything else. So they kind of just got, an ace paycheck there and are kind of done with it. But
they're going to pick up some money. They didn't even pop that top inhibitor. They're going to, just get some items and potentially go down and try and contest Dragon here. Vegan's going to go ahead and try and get things started, but Clark got vision there. They know exactly what's going on. They know that they're not doing the dragon, and they're holding back, which is probably the smart play from SNHU. They know that they are going to collapse on them very soon.
Right.
And there's another ward there as well. They just spotted Vegans walking out of the area, so pretty safe for them to assume that things are going to be uncontested here.
Yeah, and they weren't really able to get their own vision there, so Clark is just going to be able to pick up another dragon there. SNHU will have that one Chemtech dragon, but the soul for the ocean is going to be a lot better with actually stacking the ocean.
For sure, yeah. We'll see Clark now starting to threaten Baron a little bit. And this is something that is going to force an SNHU response right here. They do have the Scribes of them, so they can just get a little check. They can see exactly what's going on. And it's a very close hold to this corner. Suddenly, Buckles is just gone.
That was incredible rollout there from Clark. Just able to hug that wall and really use vision to their advantage there. Once again, I feel like that's the name of the game right now.
Yeah, that was, just great positioning right there. Banana is just going to sit here and soak up some of these shots. It's not really a big deal to him. He's got so much health to deal with. He's just going to tank a little bit and then back up to the rest of his team. This Baron is very close to dead. No contest possible for SNHU. They're going to pick this up. They're going to get that buff, and they're going to start to push down some of these lanes. SNHU right now very much feeling suffocated at the moment.
And now I feel like the course of action for SNHU is kind of to try to just push these lanes out while they still can and really dedicate a lot of people to the majority push that Clark has. It's going to be pretty much impossible to try to cover all of the pushes that Clark is going to do, but you also want to try to look for these majority picks where you can throw like 5 people on 3.
Yeah, that is you need to find these sort of scenarios where you can, like you mentioned, force out a kill onto a character who is very, very deadly, which is something they need to start really trying to look for. But Clark, again, kind of just playing very much airtight, not giving a ton of room for that. It's up to SNHU to really try and create these opportunities, which we have seen them do in the past. We've seen them find some of these crazy out of nowhere kills. They just need to be able to find a little bit more of them more consistently, because Clark at the moment, especially with Baron buff, they can really just try and play safe.
But look at this rollout though, the way they're executing this push and being able to just kind of tickle at every single part of the map and have those cannons just do the work for them. Like Jarvan being able to rotate there and scout out other people.
If you go up to deal with the Ornn, then the bot lane's going to apply pressure. And if you try and split to deal with the top lane and the bot lane at the same time, then the mid lane's going to apply pressure. It's just a really well-coordinated siege right here.
Yeah, the turrets are just falling left and right now. Clark just having an excellent siege here. That cannon minion going to be able to take out that mid turret there and slowly whittling down at that top inhibitor. There's not a lot you can do about the Sylas either holding these cannons in the bot wave either. J Remy's going to take a lot of health off of Buckles there. Looking for the Cataclysm. Going to be able to get it, but he might be out of position now. Buckles going to have to retreat to that fountain there, and it looks like they felled 2 of the 3 inhibitors there. Showy Colt going to get ulted by that Nautilus. Glitching going in. Going to be able to get that kill. Just Spoon pops his ultimate. Has it ready. Is going to be able to kind of get a lot of damage and mobility out of this, but it looks like the front to back from Clark is just a little bit too strong. No one's really dying right now. There's so much healing coming out from Clark. There's no way you can kill any of these people.
It's really a big strength of Clark's composition right here is, right, you have their already insanely strong front line from J4, from Nautilus, and Ornn as well. That is such a hard front line to push into. They are not going to budge. They're not going to fold. They're going to hold their ground, and they're going to actually start to push you back. And then at the same time, right when that happens, you got the Sylas that jumps in with the stolen Swain ult.
Yeah.
And then your entire team is just getting shredded while they collapse on you. Really, really strong composition that they had right there. And again, that Sylas is an issue for SNHU.
Yeah.
It was last week as well. It's something that you can't just let get through if you're going to be first picking Swain regularly.
Yeah, the Sylas is, kind of a problem for Swain. So definitely banning that out is an option, but I feel like they didn't I mean, they played kind of okay around it. It's just that Silas was able to really, go wherever he wanted on that map
it's just tough because you can't really stop Silas from stealing someone's ultimate. If he wants to do it, he's gonna find a way to, and it's not the most interactive thing, other than just like, oh, don't be on the same side of the map as him. He's just gonna run at you the whole time. So it can be really tough to deal with. And
there's a cooldown on it that I think you can. I don't know if you can see, but he can see it.
Yeah. So it's tough to play around. It's definitely a composition check more so than it is kind of a macro sort of tactics check. But that was game number 1 going over towards Clark. It was best of 3 set, so it is match point for Clark. SNH, you're going to have a chance to clap back in game number 2. We'll be right back in a few minutes to take a break and get ready for that. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back as we get ready to go into our second draft of the night. SNHU White versus Clark Esports. Clark took the first game. SNHU hopefully looking to revise their composition and hit back strong. We'll see as they go ahead and start off their bans here.
Yeah, we're going to see kind of similar bans from both these people or teams. We're going to see Mordekaiser Zyra coming out immediately from Clark. They have the blue side this time, so I'm wondering if they're going to like switch things up. Maybe have a priority pick that they really want to get out there, and if SNHU is going to try to use the counter pick to their advantage there.
Yeah. We'll see Clark first picking Jinx.
That's the priority pick.
That is. There is definitely the whole team's going to be built around that, right? SNHU tells them a lot about what kind of composition Clark are looking for. For SNHU, we'll see. They don't have first pick this time, obviously, right? Which means they're not going to first pick Swain, probably. And we'll see the Jarvan 4 coming out right away. It's been a pretty much a mainstay for them. So seeing it come out, it's a pretty safe jungler pick. Clark probably assumes they were going to pick it anyway.
I feel like they're mostly picking it away from Clark too, as well. So
yeah,
Jarvan would be an excellent like level 2 gank on that Jinx too. And instead throwing a Nyla in there, that's a pretty good response to the Jinx too, I feel like. But other than that, they have the Swain open, and I feel like last time they left, or they didn't leave the Jinx open, they banned it.
Yeah, that is true. So definitely a big target here for Clark, and that Thrush could come in to support as well. I'm just going to make Jinx even stickier than she already is, while Thresh is constantly hooking you in and flaying you backwards and putting up walls in your way that make you slower if you walk through them. It's just not a good time at all to be in that lane. Hopefully Nyla is able to really contest in that kind of close range without having to worry about that too much. Belveth being hovered now is the final pick for our first phase of picks for Clark, but we're seeing a lot of switches, just a little bit of indecisiveness. That's all right, but it will be Sion.
An interesting, another weak side pick there from their top laner. I feel like Sion can really start to do damage if he's left unattended, and he has that scaling that kind of is really hard to deal with. Like the more minions he kills, the more health he gets. So he can really take over a game just by split pushing, I feel like. But Ornn is a pretty good answer to that. It's kind of annoying matchup to play as Ornn into Sion, because the Ornn is really looking to team fight the whole time, and the Sion's really looking to split the entire time. So they're kind of just babysitting most of the time.
That is true. It's going to be a little bit of an annoying matchup, like you said. Second wave of bans coming through. That Silas ban did go through. I think that's great for SNHU. That has been a character that White has struggled with a little bit in the past. So just getting that out of the way, especially when Clark have shown, like, hey, yeah, we have a Silas that you need to worry about. You can't just ignore him. That is a good ban. Although Clark looking to ban off Blitzcrank is a interesting ban.
I feel like Blitzcrank would kind of go with the Nyla there. And since they're trying to really play into the bot lane, Blitzcrank is also pretty good into Thresh. So it might be something that they're scared of for kind of the future of, playing out this game.
Yeah. I do like seeing Clark immediately fire back with the Swain ban. They know that they the moment they see the Silas ban, they're like, okay, we'll just get Swain out of the way. They like playing Swain. We're not going to let them just do it for free with Silas not being a factor. So they get to ignore that. And
the thing is, they do have red side counterpick here for mid lane. So the Orianna is going to be pretty hard to counterpick. I'm wondering what the jungler is going to be with that Orianna. Is it going to be like Diana or something? That'd be kind of crazy.
Something that can really, really like control your movement is going to be awesome with Orianna. So we'll see what Clark decide to look at there. Trundle is another character who can just put a wall in your way, make it very hard for you to actually be able to escape Orianna. That utility will be pretty valuable for Clark.
Yep. Trundle has pretty good rep with Orianna, I feel like, too, because Orianna, not really known for like the speed boost she gives, but it
makes a difference.
It does.
Yeah.
You get that ball on you, and you get armor, you get magic resist, and you get a speed boost. And if you're melee like Trundle and just running in there, it turns into a speed boost that has a 600 damage AoE pull into you too. So a nice little pickup there with that Trundle. Plus, the Trundle just tears through Jarvan,
Right.
makes it way too easy to gank Orin because you just throw a pillar in front of him when he E's. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny.
It's a pretty good pick into this composition. I like the Syndra though. That is something that SNHU kind of worry about. They say, okay, how do we worry about our mid lane? We can't play Swain. And Clark, we're worrying about them generally because that mid lane is pretty aggressive. Not a lot of people really want to play into an Orianna when a Trundle is also kind of on the scene. So I think Syndra's great. Just having a big get off me button, just push everyone away from you is a really great way to deal with a lot of those threats.
Yeah, it's a notorious matchup. I feel like Orianna into Syndra is kind of it's a fun matchup.
Yeah,
it was in the World Song.
That's
last
true.
year.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I'm a fan of both of these teams. Clark definitely playing a very different team than what they played last time, which I think is pretty exciting on their part here. But that is our draft for game 2. So we're going to throw it to a break while I get ready to get into the game. We'll be back in just a few minutes with game number 2. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back as we are ready to go into Game 2. Clark Esports versus SNHU White. Clark were able to take the first game in a pretty strong fashion. SNHU trying to fight back here, but already starting to receive some big damage early on. Not ideal, as you can see. Clark have actually been able to find a lot of value off of these pre minion wave jungle attacks.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of out of character for Clark not to invade there with the thresh there. Like, I feel like that's kind of just like a normal thing to do. But I guess you have the Scion, and Scion's kind of better at stacking and playing counter invade there. But definitely interesting 5-point from both teams there, and also scouting for a little bit of vision. We're going to see some deeper wards out from Clark that are going to be able to get maybe almost up to that Raptor pit. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to spot the Jarvan off of that ward or not.
We'll see now that as things start to get going here, this top lane, we talked about this a little bit in the draft, but this top lane is going to be a little bit of an annoying top lane for both teams to deal with here, right? That Scion is constantly going to be split pushing, whereas the Ornn is going to be really looking to try and get involved in some team fights at some point in the game. So that is a little bit of an issue that SNHU are going to have to find a way to deal with, because J. Remy's, we saw how strong he looked in the top lane last game. Scion is a character where if you really feel confident in your play, you can absolutely just split push the entire game, and you don't have to worry necessarily. Just like overextending is like the worst thing you can do, and it's still not that bad because Scion can just kind of run into lane over and over and over.
Yeah, and he gets a little bit of value out of it because every minion he kills, he gets that health. And if he's not really worth that much gold, it's, I don't know, it's a whole strategy. But I feel like the Scion can kind of try to find value, but he already wins the lane naturally against Ornn, I think.
Yeah.
It's a weird matchup.
It is, and we'll see. Buckles is taking a little bit of damage here from this harassment. We'll see, trying to get a little bit of damage back. Just trying to trade back and forth is mostly the name of the game here. Vegans, this is a dangerous spot to be in. I'm not sure if he saw all three people there or not.
But vision, Showy Cult going to be on the other side here. He will get caught out there, but it looks like he's kind of just surviving. A lot of auto attack based champions into Nyla, but the first blood goes on to that Trundle. Showy Cult still alive, going to have to try to flash out there. Legendary Banana looking for something here, but just going to be a 1-for-1 there. The gold going on the Nyla is going to be pretty beneficial for SNHU.
Some really, really weird early fights coming out right there. That is not a traditional sort of fight that you see break out in the jungle like that, but SNHU were feeling confident they could find something there, and they did find something. Clark made sure to get a little bit of something for themselves too, though, and making sure that both these teams just get equivalent value for everything they do is what we saw last game. Made it very difficult for the sort of the standings to change in terms of which team is on top.
Yeah, and now SNHU going to try to convert this lead, but it looks like Optimistic Jungle is going to be just right there after that E was used. Just Spoon looking very low, going to have this flash, but Prime going to be able to get that with an auto attack.
Yeah, Clark finding their second kill right there, and we'll see Buckles taking a little bit of harassment up there. J. Remy is very much high on health, and in that top lane there, Buckles really, you have to be so careful of Scion because he will just walk at you, and he's not that afraid of it. Buckles really has to try and play very defensive there, which as Ornn can be a little bit frustrating, just having to sort of sit back because there's not a lot you can do without being right up in your opponent's face.
Yeah, this is not the best position to be in as Ornn, having the waves just kind of pushing into J. Remy's, and he's higher on health there. Very hard situation to deal with.
In the mid lane, we see Vegan starting to make his way past there, pathing up towards top side. The main issue with sort of the top side of the map is that it's really hard to gank. Both Ornn and Scion, that's tough. They're two very, very tanky characters, and Sion in particular, right? Like you can gank him, but you really have to be careful not to overcommit because he has that passive. He's going to be able to, after he dies, just hit you in the face a bunch. So it can be a little bit tempting to accidentally overcommit onto Sion.
And once again, Clark coming out with those deeper wards, especially on that Raptor there.
Yeah,
I think it was just ping there is a very beneficial ward to try to track the jungler. So they're Clark is going to get information on where Eat the Beacons is right now and kind of try to play accordingly with wave management in their solo lanes there.
Yeah, that was kind of a staple of Clark's gameplay in the first game, was just having really strong vision control, and it gave them a lot of room to make intelligent, informed decisions. So definitely something to keep an eye on there is just how much of the map they can really see at a time and how much crucial info they're getting. SNHU going to go ahead and start off this dragon. Speaking of getting crucial info, yeah, they are not going to see at all this dragon there. They did just see Spoon walk down towards the dragon pit, so they've got an idea, and they're actually starting to pivot up in this direction. With 4 people off the map, got to try and find something. SNHU are going to go ahead and take the dragon. Optimistic, just standing there. It's very scary, just walking at him. Vegan suddenly out of position. Rarvane as well taking some fire. Spoon trying to get a little bit of peel for his team, but Vegans is so low, and it's going to be Rarvane who ends up going down. It's a double kill there for Clark as they find 2 as well. I'd say that's more than worth it for first dragon.
Yeah, that was kind of weird how the Optimistic Jungle just so confident walking in there. They had also the flank from Zune coming in with a huge ultimate. An excellent dodge by Eat the Vegans. They're not going to get caught in that ultimate. I think I saw someone flash right as the hook was going to hit them into Rarvane getting hooked there. But that's going to be an unfortunate double kill there for Clark. Snoot does pick up that dragon, though, which is going to be pretty beneficial there for them. They could try to use that to their advantage, kind of play around dragons a little bit more going into the future of this game. But Clark does have that 3K up on them now.
Yeah, that gold lead is starting to become a little bit of a problem right now, and especially when you look at CS by lane. I mean, Jay Remis is killing it right now. He's making so much money, which the closer or the faster that he builds items, the quicker that split pushing becomes a real problem, right? That Sion is a timer on this game, and the further he gets ahead, the sooner in the game, that timer is just going to get shorter and shorter and shorter.
Right, and it becomes pretty hard for Ornn to actually deal with them, but Just Spoon with the moves is going to be able to try to get out of here. The Ignite comes out, and he is just not going to be able to get out of there. Legendary Banana going to be a little bit too sticky on that Thresh.
Yeah, it's tough as Syndra. If you get caught out, right, and you use your E, you're like, hey, get off me, and they don't get off you, they're still on you, there's not a lot you can do. You just have to try and run from them, and especially, with that Thresh, Legendary Banana is just able to control so much of your movement that, especially with Syndra, who doesn't have movement abilities, very hard to avoid.
Yeah, that's true. Syndra and other things like Camille LeBlanc are kind of like that, too. You just gotta wait for them to use that one ability that makes them really hard to gank, and just that's your window to really collapse on them. So Syndra is one of them because they gotta use it for trading at some point. So you kind of just wait for that there. But Jay Remis is gonna take half of his health bar, and I think a turret shot brittle proc there.
I mean, that's great aggression. Buckles knows that he needs to apply pressure to Jay Remis when he has the chance, because that's an easy trap to fall into. When you're behind, it's easy to be like, okay, I'll just sit under turret and let the other person do whatever they want. It's just as long as I don't die. But you can't just do that. You need to check them when you can.
Yeah, that's 100% true. But I like the way that Jay Remis has kind of been controlling the wave against Buckles. Like right now, after he just pushed that in and had it bounce off the turret, it's going to push it back into him. He used his... Actually, he just got back lane, I think. Is going to be able to get in a beneficial position here, but Eat the Vegans has that 6. A nice play from Legendary Banana, but he gets back in there with that Cataclysm. Exhaust comes out, and he's going to be stuck there for a pretty long time. How is he still alive? Here comes Jay Remis with the ultimate, and Shoiko's looking pretty low. Optimistic Jungle going to get in there with the Orianna ult. That's a huge engage there from Clark. It's really hard to deal with there. And Buckles, he might be dead there. He's going to get out of there.
The rocket!
No! Oh, no. What?
That is so tragic, and this Rift Herald is going to get so much value even with these turret plates up. This is a dead turret for sure, and we'll see. If the Rift Herald dies, it looking like it's just going to keep on trucking and potentially make it over to the tier 2. Just has 40 health left, and it's alive. If it can get another charge off, that's big, but already SNHU are on the way. They just need to hit it once, and it's down. Still an incredibly worthwhile Rift Herald, and that team fight went excellently for Clark. They are 10 kills at 10 minutes.
Yeah, they're going to be about 7K in the lead now. It's going to be pretty difficult for SNHU to try to play their game into Clark. Clark kind of has the reins right now, so it's a little bit scary situation here, but I feel like, SNHU might be able to try to find these picks.
Yeah.
400 shutdown on the Jinx. Not that hard to kill a Jinx if she's alone.
You got to worry about the Thresh, though. You got to, the Thresh is the issue, because if the Thresh wants to, he will die in her place, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? He's just going to sit there and give her peel and let them run away. J-Remy's, surprisingly not taking that much damage right now, and actually going to get pushed back under turret, and just still alive. He's still fine.
How is he still alive? I think that CS is definitely paying off for him.
Oh, yeah.
And having that cull, too, is just another notorious Scion item, being able to scale health and also get that extra pickup, 1 gold per minion you kill, because you're just a farming machine.
Got the Ocean Drake coming up once again, back-to-back Ocean Soul. We'll see if the soul comes into play too much. Clark have got a very commanding lead, and it's not so far to the point that SNHU can't take it back, right? I say it's a commanding lead. It's 10-2. The gold difference is not that big. SNHU did a great job of CSing. They will end up losing Spoon down there in the bot lane, trying to defend. And this is another turret that's under siege. Turret plates are still up, and that's a tier 2 turret that's under siege. It's just tough right now for SNHU on the defensive. But a few good kills, and they're right back in this game.
Yeah, they really need to look for these shutdowns here on priority targets like glitching or that Orianna there. If anyone really picked up that Orianna shutdown, they'd kind of be, back in the game, maybe able to get their item and start to really deal damage. Because once you have at least like one damage dealer into this team, I feel like you're able to try to get these pickups. But
here's potentially a shutdown. Yeah, this is looking like a good opportunity here for Vegans. The flash comes out, and there's actually 2 fights happening at the same time. Vegans forced to fall back, and Prime going very far forward, confident in his ability to fight Spoon right here. It's going right down to the wire, and unfortunately, he's not going to be able to take the kill. SNHU walking out with a 500 gold paycheck down there. They will end up losing Buckles in the top lane, but that is more than worth it to get that money onto your Syndra in get all of that shutdown money onto your Syndra. That is a crazy spike right there.
Yeah, that's a nice shutdown onto the Syndra, and I feel like she's going to back here and pick up her first item. But that's one of the hard things. Oh, a nice hook there. Just trying to get that peel, glitching, looking pretty low, and not going to want to risk another shutdown going into the hands of SNHU, because they're already starting to catch back up in their gold lead.
Yeah, that gold difference, right? It has started to make a little bit of a gap in where you see Clark 8K gold ahead. That's more than they were just a few minutes ago. But it's about how fast these teams are gaining gold. SNHU just got a huge influx of gold, so that is definitely a chance for them to start gaining. And we'll see as well. They're still kind of struggling to secure space right now. Very much kind of stuck towards their tier 2s. But the moment that they are able to break free, the moment they're able to get some vision down, suddenly I think you're going to see things start to change a little bit.
100%. And right now, I feel like after coming off this reset right now is kind of like the calm before the storm. Like SNHU really got to watch their toes right now, because Clark is going to be stepping wherever they want. And it's going to be, hard to respond to what they want to do right now. For example, this Rift Herald, I think they're just going to have to try to give it.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard to contest this. That's the thing, right? This is the same issue that SNHU ran into last game, where Clark are ahead. The lead is not insurmountable, but you need to catch them off guard. You need to catch them out. And potentially that could be something that's happening in the bot lane right now as Prime gets picked off again. And that's another kill that goes over to Spoon. And he's just collecting these paychecks.
He's used to the Silas, and playing that split as Silas is a lot different than playing it as Orianna. Being in that pressure zone is going to be one of your death sentences, I feel like.
It's a tough spot to be in, just overextending a little too much, getting a little too overconfident, just giving up a little bit of that gold. And we'll see SNHU just trying to make money here. But again, yeah, stuck right here. Buckles could be in a bad spot right now. He's got to try and get away right here. Not the most mobile character. Will flash to get away from that. That would have been really important because that pillar would have completely blocked that off, made it very difficult for him to actually escape.
SNHU is trying to respond with a 4-on-2 play here, but it's going to be spotted out a little bit soon by glitching with that W usage, going to be able to get that vision. And also the vision that Clark is playing with, like just look at the rest of the map. They have so many deep wards and are able to pretty much get vision on all 5 of SNHU most of the time.
Yeah, that vision control, like you said, those deep wards, we're saying it time and time again, it's what's giving Clark this advantage, is the complete information they have. They're almost never making plays without knowing the full extent of things, and when they are, it's when you're seeing these shutdowns in the bot lane, right, where someone just goes a little bit too far forward, they don't have the wards to spot out vegans, and they essentially just give up a kill very easily.
Yeah. Well, Prime really wants to push this lead he has against Spoon. But
Yeah.
I feel like as Orianna, you can't really step up that far. They have 4 here, potentially 5 with a teleport, and Jinx is a little bit slow, but I think Clark's really just trying to rotate around to this dragon right now. And as these mages in the bot lane, you're just going to want to try to push those wave and then move like that Orianna. Just going to move straight to that dragon there.
Yeah, not a lot of ways they can contest this right now. Just take space. That's all they need to do. They just need to reclaim some land that Clark have taken because it is getting a little difficult for them to move around in their own jungle right now, and that's not what you want. That's how you're making rotations. You don't want to those avenues for rotations to be vulnerable.
Right, and having just information on where the jungler is, because he's not really ever going to be in a fixed position. He's always going to be walking around this map. It's going to be a lot of information to play around here for Clark. SNHU
playing very much tight knit, and I think that is the play. Just don't overextend at all. Don't let anyone go out on their own unless it's Buckles. Buckles is tanky. He can survive a little bit of punishment there. The rest of SNHU are much less so.
Yeah, 3 off map. I like the way how Orianna's playing right now, just catching that wave and then gonna walk back to that tri-bush. And as the receiving end, the Syndra there, you can't really walk into those lane bushes unless you have that 3rd one warded. Could be like anyone waiting in there. But now, as they're going to get a little bit more information, Prime's going to play a little bit more aggressive, going to be able to get that ultimate off on Spoon, a surprising amount of damage.
And there's no one here to gank this time. The bot side of the map is completely open. Some people are going to be coming out of base, but we'll see Clark also starting to apply some pressure in the mid lane that's really going to just try and leash those people who are resetting back over to the mid lane where they can't do too much. That Rift Herald going to come down as well to just draw even more of SNHU's aggro, pull them in, and force them to deal with this whole situation. Showy Cult is being forced to very much into the middle of the entire team right now, but Vegan shows up, is able to take down Glitching. Showy Cult trying to escape, just barely on the brink of death, is able to find a way out. Buckles on the scene now. That Ram going to come through, pop Optimus up into the air. Vegan's going to pop in, try and find some damage. Jade Remy's slides on through from behind, takes down Showy Cult, and now this is a very bad situation for SNHU. They're on the run. They're trying to chase Buckles. Just going to give that peel. He's going to let Vegans get away. Rivalry gets taken down from Prime right there.
Yeah, it's a high-speed chase. Buckles trying to get out of here. He might get him. Oh, he's so close. No.
It's tough. He gave his life. He gave his life so Vegans could get away. Spoon is also just trying to defend underneath this turret. This is a tough spot to be in. Vegans can't really cross here confidently either, especially with Prime starting to make his way over. It's easier maybe just to channel that recall. He does not want to give up his position right now, but unfortunately that means essentially you'll have to give up that turret, potentially this inhibitor as well, unless Showy Code is really able to start putting out some damage, but just has to walk up a little bit too far to be comfortable before the rest of the team show up, and Clark are already gone.
Bye-bye.
They're out of there. They're out of there. They got away with it.
They're gonna drop these wards. as they walk out there. I like that ward in the mid lane going to be able to catch the entrances of those two jungles there, along with the pink wards. The Raptor ward going to get dropped there, and I feel like now coming out of base, what you're going to really do is just walk straight to Baron after clearing that vision. You're going to walk out with full support wards there, and going to be able to get a lot more vision denied for SNHU, which I think they're trying to look to place right now, but it's going to be kind of in vain as Clark just pushes them right back here, taking it back.
It's great that SNHU immediately identified, like, oh, they just went and they dumped a ton of wards into our jungle. We need to clear those out right now, because those wards weren't only, scouting out rotations through jungle, they were also scouting out potentially responses to Baron, which Clark are looking to do soon if they can find the chance.
And I really like the pressure that they're building on the side lanes here, as they have the Cinder respond to those supers in the mid. They know they have like this advantage of it's just a 3-on-3, but it looks like the AoE is just going to be too much for them. That kill bush going to pull buckles for that, and that's going to be a nice little two-piece pickup for SNHU.
And suddenly that Baron play is looking a lot more favorable for SNHU. They're going to go ahead and start to run this. They're going to get the objective bounty from this as well if they take it. Prime is making sure that he finds some value down here in the bot lane. He's going to push up, start threatening this inhibitor turret. That forces Spoon to come back to deal with that. He'll slow down the Dragon burn just a little bit, the Baron burn a little bit, while the rest of Clark start to come right back up.
If Scion wasn't a 200 gold shutdown, I'd either just send it straight down top or mid. Just run it. But it looks like he's going to try to farm that jungle there. Steel almost coming out there, but going to get it down to 900 there. Going to go to SNHU. A cancel going on Rarvane. It looks like
really bad. That's really bad. Rarvane completely caught out, and that is one Baron buff off of the map. J-Remy's still finding that value, up to a 350 gold shutdown now. So even less incentive for him to run down lane. And Clark are already down in the bot lane trying to find this dragon as well, which will be their third dragon. It's got a lot of implications along with that dragon soul point.
Yeah, they're pretty close to their soul point here. So could be a win condition here for Clark, but I do think that the Jinx is really strong. A really nice ADC to play right now, but they do have Showy Cult on the Nyla, which is something you kind of have to worry about because Nyla just kind of runs through Jinx, I feel like.
Yeah, the thing is, Clark, they've played a really tight formation so far around that Jinx. They're very much aware of that vulnerability, so it's not going to be quite that easy for SNHU in terms of taking down that priority target. But
I thought they had buckles there for a second.
We'll see SNHU very much in this top corner of the map. They know Clark is right here in this jungle. Spoon getting a little close to that brush. There's no one in it, but that's still pretty scary. I would not want to walk up to that.
A hook coming out from Banana, just going to get a little bit of poke there. 5 of SNHU's members are going to be able to walk kind of through wherever they want with these Baron minions. They got a lot of pressure. The top wave is pushing their bottom wave is going to be caught by that Scion. So I really like the wave management from Clark and SNHU coming out here, but it kind of looks like Clark is going to try to play these side lanes here, and responding to that, SNHU is going to send 5 here into the mid lane, which is a nice way to kind of just say, hey, look at me. You got to do something about this. We have Baron buff now.
Yeah, they force a lot of sort of respect from Clark here. They can't just let them push out any of these lanes. And Clark are doing a good job of meeting them in that regard. But speaking of meeting, they find Vegans in the jungle, and now he is able to get away. Clark still just sort of wedged in here, maintaining this position. Banana taking a lot of poke damage just for free. Almost a crazy hook. Not quite able to find it in that box. Not quite in range to trap Showy Colt.
Ooh, a hook coming out there on Showy Colt, and he's going to go in with his ultimate. The lifesteal is going to be pretty huge there with these Baron minions just running down. They're going to get a double kill on Showy Colt. A nice little comeback there for the Nyla.
Yeah, SNHU with a crazy fight. They find 3 right there, 2 left up for Clark, and they are pushing top and bottom right now. They're sending the Scion back to base to deal with this push. But that's Buckles back in base as well, who was sent to deal with that push that Scion was making. 2 turrets claimed. That's 2 objective bounties that SNHU were able to claim. And they just turned what was a 10k gold lead a few minutes ago into just a 5k gold lead. So they've completely have Clark's advantage.
I feel like the Scion could be doing a little bit more. Is it like it? I don't know. Buckle shows her like TP top or something with Oriana.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like the Scion can just start punching towers a little bit more.
He's so far ahead of Ornn at the moment, right? And like maybe you have to worry about that brittle damage, but I do agree with you. I think that Scion is. I mean, look at the gold difference here between those two. Really, they need to be using that pressure a lot more.
Yeah, and he's also built a little bit more as a team-oriented Scion, which is a little bit weird. You don't see it that often. But that Radiant Virtue is going to be more of a supportive ultimate, so he's looking to try to like show up a little bit late to these fights with just an ultimate barreling down a lane, perhaps.
SNHU now coming out of their base. Clark taking a heavy little fortification here in the topside river, just making sure they secure this area, get these wards down, and don't let SNHU path this way, and just make sure they're in range to support this mid lane here if they do get caught out, which Buckles is close by. They see him destroying that ward, but they know to keep their distance. Not any objectives up right now, but that dragon is up in a minute, Baron in a minute 30, so potentially a chance for an exchange. Whichever team goes for the dragon probably loses the Baron.
Yeah, both teams have the means to really try to melt this Baron here. ADCs are picking up their second or third item here, so there's a lot of damage on the board, and as the game goes on, these health bars that the Dragon and Baron are given don't really matter that much to the amount of damage that the whole team has as a collective.
SNHU very much just taking up residence right here. Banana, the only one visible right now. They're going to walk up. That ward will spawn out a lot of them. Got a pretty good idea of what's going on right now, but they need to worry about that Scion pushing down their top inhibitor right now.
I like the dedication here. They have the teleport from both of them. I wonder how this is going to play out, because a 4v4 with the mid laner, I feel like Prime's going to get a little bit more value, but they do have that Ornn ultimate. This could be pretty tricky, and both of the top laner and mid, they're going to walk back here. See the first teleport, the second teleport. Here comes the Ornn ultimate. Going to try to find a knockup. Going to find one. The Cataclysm coming out with Shoei. He's so low. Going to be able to pick up that kill there, and it looks like the Jinx is just going to be able to just shred through with the excited passive. They're going to get so much damage onto Jespoon trying to get out of there. It runs out, and now this is their time to shine again. Gonna have to pop that Seraph's Embrace, and now Prime is just trying to chase down Spoon. He looks like he's gonna get out, but here comes Scion.
Went right past him. Couldn't catch up, or couldn't slam into him there. And now Spoon is going to stay alive. He's going to be able to get away. Clark are going to try and claim their Ocean Soul right here. If they didn't have 2 players down, that was potentially a game-ending scenario there for Clark, but they are just going to have to play it safe, not overextend too much, get that soul, potentially regroup and wait for that Elder Drake as a win condition, though Baron is up right now, and that is a particularly big factor on the map.
Yeah, I think they really got to just start, I don't know, playing the Scion for Clark, but SNHU is doing a really good job of exploiting Clark in the way that they're playing, because I feel like SNHU has pretty good team fight.
Yeah. I mean, a big thing right now, right, is Spoon doesn't have his TP up. It's just Buckles. And actually Buckles is, or not Buckles, Clark is teleporting in right now to try and contest this Baron, but not a lot of people can really come back and contest Scion if he wants to push while also still being able to jump back to their team.
Oh, there's a hook there. Not going to find anything off of it.
This is just such a hard engage to make as SNHU. Banana just sitting there, holding that space. The ram comes through. SNHU stole that?
and just bursted there with a huge ultimate. But oh my god, the Ori ultimate almost going to be able to turn the fight there. And Optimistic Jungle just running through them. Just such a close fight. It's the mid laner and the top laner here against the top jungle. A nice flash from J-Remy. So there's the team fight. Sion pulling through. Going to be able to just do so much damage in this fight. Buckles.
He's just buying time for his team to respawn right now. Like, he knows he's dead. He's not going to make it out of this, but he is killing time. And Vegans is up in 20 seconds along with Garvane and Showy Cold.
You can say it. That was a wet noodle fight.
That was a wet noodle fight. That was just they were just staring at each other until one of them died. Buckles is going to be on cooldown for a good bit, but look, the whole team is already right back up. And again, that was another situation where I was like, okay, that could potentially have been game-ending if Clark just finished that fight immediately, but they didn't. They couldn't. And now, SNHU, Baron has just been taken off the map. SNHU don't get to keep the Baron buff. They get the objective bounty money, which is big. Clark don't get the Baron buff.
Oh my god, I would be mad at the Sion if I was Citron.
Just go in. But he's got a 700 gold shutdown, so I get it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe don't give that to the team that is slowly encroaching on your gold lead.
That's true. He has ultimate to try to run out of there too, so it's pretty hard to catch a Sion that's ulting away from you.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're looking for a pick here on Eat the Vegans. Might be able to find it. Nice smite coming out there. The E trying to get away here. Eat the Vegans team coming to his help there, and it looks like they're going to be able to just bail him out a 4-on-4, but without vision on the mid laners here, it's a little bit scary.
Prime making sure that bot lane is pushed out for Clark, and he blew up. He's gone.
He doesn't get MR scaling with level. I don't know.
That's sad. That's unfortunate.
Sad. That's kind of a Thresh moment there.
SNHU, yeah, if they can keep funding picks like this, that is going to be awesome for them. Clark still have a pretty significant gold lead. They've been hovering around 6k gold lead to about 10k gold lead this whole game. So we'll see if they're able to maintain that. SNHU, if they keep finding picks like this, that's going to be enough to very, very surely make up that difference in time. Main thing people are looking out for right now, don't lose the game for the next 3 minutes. Wait until this Elder Drake pops up, and then that will be the game-ending fight. Because if you lose big before that dragon spawns, you can't contest it.
That's true. Yeah. You got to really just play your cards right coming up to these spawn timers here. Got 2 minutes on the Elder, so I feel like both teams are kind of just throwing punches, but not really like putting their weight behind it.
Yeah.
They're really just trying to feel the water out here before they're gonna, plunge in.
If Clark loses a team fight, then SNHU suddenly are pretty much even in terms of gold. And that is a really bad thing for Clark, because they've had this gold lead the entire game. If SNHU lose a fight, then Clark are just able to get free roam over the next objective here. And I like that, just mutual respect there. Just walk past Buckles, give him a nod, be like, I can't kill you, but you can't kill me. Yeah. So what are we even doing here? We're just gonna go on our way.
What's going on? Whoa! Wait, they know. They're going to be able to just catch J-Remy's out. The Cataclysm coming out. So much dedication for the top laner. Here's the Sion coming out. You're going to be there for another 10 minutes.
Yeah, he's not dying. He is not dying at all. He's going to slowly walk them away from their base while Clark starts to make the rest of this. And he's still alive for a little bit right here. He's still going to do some damage. And you really don't want Showy Colt to be the one who's eating those punches. Just making sure that lane doesn't get pushed out is about the best he can do while SNHU start to fall back to their base. That was a 700 gold shutdown.
Yeah, but they got that top inhibitor out. I feel like no, he still has a 250 shutdown. You just don't want the shutdown of Sion. Though.
He's doing too good. He needed to die more in the early game so he wouldn't be so valuable.
Yeah. But now, like you said, as the Elder's coming up here in 36 seconds, it's going to be a tough window here for Clark to get all their members into position here to try to fight this dragon.
Sion has TP. He'll be up in time for it.
He does, but look at SNHU. They're already positioned into this pit. They're going to get their vision down and deny a lot from Clark. People are still resetting from Clark. It's going to be really hard to actually get into position to fight this.
Yeah, and this is, Ocean Soul doesn't matter, right? If you have the soul, it doesn't matter. All you need is the Elder Drake buff. You just need to be the one that kills it. So Clark definitely on the back foot here. Banana's trying to step forward here. J-Remy is approaching from the top. This could be a really great angle for an ultimate here if he wants to just try and wedge himself in there. Elder Dragon does take a little bit to kill, so they've got plenty of time. Buckles popping that ultimate. The Ram coming through. He's going to get a little bit there, but not actually able to hit it back, and Vegans explodes. That's a smite gone for SNHU. Clark trying to scramble now that they know that's off the table. Showy Colt is down. Elder Drake only half dead. It's not going to go down in this fight. Spoon, the next one down. Rarvane about to fall, or sorry, Buckles about to fall there, and that is an ace as Clark
look at that attack speed.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Jinx is just so gross right now. That is something I don't think that should be in the game. Like, watch how she melts these turrets here. Look at this.
She's got a minigun. You know, it only makes sense for her to shoot that fast. But wow, that is so much damage. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Clark just pulling up to that fight and just exploding damage out. That was a crazy comeback. I said comeback. They were ahead that whole time. SNHU, they had a really solid foothold in that Dragon Pit.
Yeah.
That was a tough execute there from Clark to actually be able to pull up to the pit, to get the angles they needed to get the flanks, and just suddenly, oh yeah, by the way, our Scion, he's right on your most valuable people, and there's not much you can do about it. So it's really great positioning there.
Clark did position that team fight pretty excellently at the end there, but I think SNHU just really had, you know, like the game in their hands for a good solid 20 minutes. They were doing really good.
They were consistently fighting back Clark at every chance that they could get. They were finding value. Anytime Clark tried to push up and take space, SNHU would pull up and they'd kill them. Yeah. Right? So
and
they kept finding these single picks over and over.
And I feel like they knew Clark's game plan better than Clark did, because Clark didn't really play the way that they were really supposed to or intended to.
It definitely,
and SNHU really exploited that throughout the game.
It definitely took Clark up until that final fight. There was like a period of probably 15 minutes where Clark was kind of felt a little aimless in terms of what their plan was. But the moment that Elder Drake fight happened, they were like, okay, we need to focus up. And
both teams were kind of just waiting for each other to mess up at that point.
That was exactly what it was. And Clark, they knew, okay, you don't have to worry about them burning down the Dragon that fast, because they're worrying about us pulling up and approaching them. So they're not totally focusing on it. It's got a lot of health. They knew they had time to work with, and they used that time to get some really critical flanks, get some really critical angles. And overall, I mean, just a really great play there from Clark tonight, and great play from SNHU as well. Definitely a valiant last stand there in that game too, but it will be Clark who take the day. Congratulations to them. Thanks for putting on a great show to our players. Thanks for coming out and watching to our viewers. If you want to see more from us, check out our Twitter, twitter.com/SNHU Esports. You'll be able to find everything there. Any sort of upcoming streams, as well as events coming up, like Granite State Grind, our Smash tournament, which is happening this Sunday. You'll be able to find all the information about that there. If you're interested, it's open for anyone. There's an entry fee, but other than that, you are more than welcome to come in and play and just hang out. It'll be on Sunday, so check out the details for that. Registration is still open until the day of, so be sure to peep that. But that's all for us today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you right back here tomorrow with Overwatch.